So, what weird game am I going to be reviewing today? I don't know what I'm looking at, but I know that I like it. 2015 was an amazing year for horror games. And no, not because it gave us a Silent Hill slot machine and Barry Burton dialogue the game. No, I consider 2015 the best because it seems to have proven for good that horror games are alive and kicking, doing extremely well and getting critically appreciated in almost every genre. Last year, we got it all. We got first-person horror games like Soma, Layers of Fear, Wick, Spooky's House of Jump Scares. We got intriguing point-and-click adventure horror games like Frambo, White Knight, Bold Boy, and Tormentum Dark Sorrow. We got Bloodborne, one of the biggest love letters to the horror genre I think I've ever seen in gaming. Swirly little spiders swirling around. But aside all that, we also got this other little horror game. This very weird little horror game that no one seemed to have noticed, played, or paid attention to at all. It was one of the strangest games of 2015, one of my favorite games of 2015, and it's called Albino Lullaby. And I have no idea why it's called Albino Lullaby, but that's okay, because the game is weird. So Albino Lullaby is an episodic indie horror adventure by Ape Law that boasts itself as having no jump scares and no gore. There are 3 episodes total, but only 1 episode is out right now. So far the game is only about a couple hours long. But trust me, it's worth it, just for the first episode alone.
It doesn't say please and thank you. Why doesn't it resonate with joy? Why doesn't it resonate with joy?
So at the beginning of the game, we see a gigantic mansion, and we hear someone screaming on the top of their lungs, "What have you done?" as a bunch of big ectoplasmic green bubbles appear and the house falls apart. Totally normal. The game then cuts to, presumably, our main character, driving on the highway in the middle of the night, then suddenly seeing something strange in the middle of the road and crashing. After this, the game finally lets you move around, as you wake up trapped in a cage. Whoa. Well, I guess I'm free. Yay. Now, the first thing you may have noticed is that this game has ridiculously over-the-top voice acting. It's wonderful. And another thing you may have noticed is that the game also has its own original art style, which I absolutely loved. You rarely see first-person horror games that are colorful and unique, let alone this extensively stylized in texture and shape. But it doesn't stop there. As you start to explore Albino Lullaby's world, you'll see that the rooms move, twist, and turn all around you. It's trippy as hell, and it gives the environment a good dose of personality and zaniness right off the bat. Oh, and look at that. A nice portrait of a bug. Oh, and look at that. More nice portraits of a bug. I'm glad there's so many of them. All prisoners must be fully sedated. Stop! Does the child meet the security standards? Sedated and unaware of its surroundings? Both eyes and all teeth completely removed? Digestive tract permanently removed / tied off? No more accidents! Alright, what is the meaning of all this? Oh! Worm people!
Oh, it looks like we're a visitor. Looks like we're a clever one.
The meaning of all this is worm people? Screw this, I'm out. So, ladies and gentlemen, you just met the grandchildren. And the grandchildren are very angry with you. After running away and making it further into this peculiar world, you start to discover this whole place is actually a subterranean network of caves, bridges, and underground houses, where the grandchildren live. The grandchildren are these wormy-looking, loudmouth, slime-trailing mutants that seem to worship an entity they call grandmother. and you were their prisoner.
There is a worm among us, hiding in our hearth and home. Grandmother must never know. Never know! Never find out about this.
Easily, the grandchildren have more personality than any horror game villain I've seen in ages. They're paranoid, they're anxious, they're childish, selfish, and crazy. And when they start chasing after you, they shout things like, "Why doesn't it say please and thank you? Why doesn't it respect its elders?" You'll spend most of this game sneaking around and hiding from the grandchildren, trying to escape their giant underground mansion, while at the same time exploring the environment and digging up clues to further understand this weird-ass story. By reading all the notes and diary entries scattered around the world, you'll learn a lot more about the grandchildren and their past. You'll learn that long ago they used to be normal, before something went horribly wrong and they had to take to the underground. And you'll also learn that they occasionally kidnap humans from the world above, and through a gruesome process, change humans into grandchildren.
It should enjoy the view while it still has its eyes.
God, this is like the most wonderful nightmare I've ever been a part of. The best thing about the game, though, honestly, is just standing around and listening to the dialogue.
Imagine you are at a party, and there's juice, soda, chips, salsa, and cake. Your friend starts telling a joke, and you...
Admittedly, Albino Lullaby is a lot more funny than it is scary. I can't deny that. And the game could have done a better job of making the grandchildren more intimidating. I mean, they move really slowly and it's pretty easy to avoid them. But here's the cool thing. You actually probably will find this game scary if you have an imagination. See, the game's greatest strength is, aside from presentation, disturbing storytelling. There's actually a lot of creepy lore and in-depth world building here, but you wouldn't notice any of it if you just stormed through the game without paying attention. Like, here's an example. Remember how you escaped from that one prison place at the beginning of the game? Well, after you escape that place, you take a lift that leads you to a bedroom. And on the bed in that bedroom, you find a note that reads, "We'll be sending one up to you shortly. Picked up from an auto accident. Wash up and get your mask prepped. You earned this." Wait, what the hell does that mean? I was the one in the auto accident. So does that mean they were gonna send me up to this bedroom? What were they gonna do to me? Rape me? Eat me? Oh, and notice how it said, "Get your mask prepped"? Well, all throughout the game, you find these masks hanging from the ceiling above the grandchildren's beds. What do they use those for? Human huffing? Ugh. Anyway, like I said, the game is only a couple hours long, and I don't really want to spoil what happens at the end, but let's just say, over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house we go. Seriously, don't ask. Just play the game yourself. Overall, from beginning to end, Albino Lullaby is creative, odd, and utterly insane. And even just for a mere episode 1, it feels pretty complete. The ending is climactic and satisfying, while still being confusing and mysterious enough to leave players eager for the next installment. There's a really spooky reveal at the end that'll leave you with a haunting image to sit in your mind. And after seeing it, I couldn't wait for more. Albino Lullaby is original, it's funny, and I can tell the designers had a blast making it. Truly, we need more games like that. Please and thank you. Hey, before I leave, I want to give a quick shout out to charitywater.org. Charity Water is an organization a lot of YouTubers have been mentioning lately in their videos, and I just kind of wanted to become a part of that. All over the world, up to 663 million people lack access to clean, safe water. And charitywater.org isn't just a charity project that brings water to them. They do a lot more than that. They go to multiple countries and drill wells, reaching aquifers deep under the earth. They set up rainwater catchments, water purification systems, pipe networks, and natural spring protections. If you're interested, check it out. It's a really easy thing to donate to, and it's very trustworthy. Thank you, and good night.